Sometimes good things come out of bad situations, and writer Greg Iles certainly knows a lot about that.
He was in a terrible car crash back in 2011, and he lost his leg, but that actually propelled him to write even further, and he developed a trilogy series.
Now he's out with a new book. It's called Cemetery Road, and it follows a man whose life has changed during a murder investigation in a small town in Mississippi.
Greg is joining us now to see what we can expect from this exciting page-turner. Greg, thank you so much for being with us.
Glad to be with you, Scott and Kara.
You're in Mississippi, right?
Yes, I am, and it is not snowing in Mississippi.
Okay.
Good for you.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we're sitting, depending on where you want to be, you might have more than a foot of snow out here in Connecticut, and we've decided to talk to you outside so you can feel good. But,
wow.
You know, I'm so interested in how your life story changed your writing, because we can all think of maybe a time where we put on a different path, and in your case, it certainly propelled you to a better path. But you had this book already kind of in formulation, but then this accident changed everything. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure, yeah. When I originally began what became the Natchez Burning Trilogy, I was trying to write it in one book, and I was realizing that wasn't going to work. My publisher wasn't real happy. I was under deadline. I pulled onto the highway and a truck hit my driver's door going 70 miles an hour.
Oh.
I woke up from a coma a week later. I had a ruptured aorta, lost my leg, broke 20-something bones. So I went from having had a #1 book the year before to I ended up losing my publishing deal, parted ways with my agent. I owed a bunch of money. And it really was that time in your life where you either you rise to the occasion or you just disappear off the map. And so it was writing that book about race and family and the South the way that I want to, not pulling any punches. That's what made me survive, I think. And I was very lucky and had a big success with it.
Greg, can you tell us a little bit about the story? It's about a gentleman who has to return home to a small town.
Yeah, if you think about the main character of this book is sort of a cross between Woodward and Bernstein, and I'd say a John Meacham type character from MSNBC. That wasn't intentional, but he left a small town as a 18-year-old, meaning never to go back to the South. But when his father is dying, he's forced to go back and run the family newspaper. He thinks he's just marking time until he can sell the paper, but he runs into more corruption in that little Mississippi town than he left in Washington. You may find that hard to believe, but you know, Mississippi has some powerful politicians in Washington. We always have. So there's a lot of truth in this story.
So have you gotten backlash from the people who maybe are part of that truth? Do they ever know it's them? And as a person, have you gotten some backlash for it?
You know, I would say this. In the South and in Mississippi, it's sort of a blood sport for people to try to guess who my characters are based on or if they're based on somebody. But I'll say, I've gotten some backlash, but in general, I've found that people these days are glad to be written about, whether it's good or bad. That surprised me, but that's how it's been. If we had time, I'd tell you a funny story, but we don't really.
Oh, how much time do you need? No, I'm just kidding. Well,
okay, I'll tell you this. I did a character based on a really powerful judge one time. I mean, really powerful, and he was a pretty scandalous character, and I was really worried about getting sued possibly and everything. And then 6 weeks after the book came out, I heard he was going all over the South bragging that that character was based on him. And I was just stunned. But that shows you how people are these days.
That is incredible. What a great story. Well, we thank you so much for your time here, Greg, and we hope the book, I'm sure it will be. I mean, you've got 12 bestsellers already, right?
Keep it going.
Keep it going.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. I enjoyed it.
Oh, good. It was nice to talk to you. Nice guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, you can read the new one, Cemetery Road. That'll be available in stores tomorrow, but maybe we've piqued your interest. You can go back and start from the beginning.
Absolutely.